Hello and welcome everyone. I'm delighted that you could join us today to find out a little more about Abbeyfield and Wesley, the supported living provider that is keeping people connected. And to give you a sense of what life in Abbeyfield and Wesley is like, we're going to be joined by Helen Collins, Regional Housing and Support Manager. And Helen will be explaining the range of services that are provided and how these benefit residents. We're also going to be catching up with some of the residents themselves who are living independently, but enjoying the support of dedicated staff and those home-cooked meals in good company. You'll get to see some video footage of the various Abbeyfield and Wesley's homely settings, which can accommodate 7 to 10 residents. Sally Campton, Abbeyfield and Wesley's Community Engagement Manager, will also be on hand to outline how Abbeyfield Life promotes companionship and community, ensuring residents can interact, build friendships, and continue to play an active role in community life. So enough from me for now. I know you're keen to hear from those directly involved, so I'll hand straight over to Helen.
Thank you very much, Sarah. What is supported sheltered housing is a question I am frequently asked. Basically, it's an alternative type of housing for older people who don't need the level of care provided in a residential care home, but do need a higher level of support than would be provided in sheltered housing, which in Northern Ireland we typically refer to as a fold. Or they may just be lonely or find the responsibility of maintaining their own home has become a burden. Supported sheltered housing enables residents to live independently with their own space, a front door key to come and go as they please, but also to have staff on hand to support them with a chat, home-cooked meals, and support with daily living chores. We have 17 houses spread across the province, and each accommodates between 7 and 10 residents. Residents furnish their room themselves, so it becomes very much their home. They can have company when they want it, and privacy if that's what they prefer. There's a communal lounge, which they're all free to use, and a dining room. To me, the dining room is the hub of the house. It's here residents come together to eat, enjoying fresh home-cooked meals prepared on site by the staff. We're lucky to have some very good cooks and bakers, and the smells coming from the kitchen often greet me at the front door, and residents will remark that they've put on weight since moving in. Residents are consulted about the menus, and we can also cater for their dietary requirements. In the dining room, they can enjoy the companionship of eating together instead of a lonely microwave meal for one eaten alone. After the past year, we can all appreciate the difference it makes to sit and eat with other people while enjoying conversation and banter. Apart from an afternoon and evening break, staff are on duty, including on call during the night. And residents have said to me that they find this reassuring and it makes them feel safe. There are also alarm systems and specialist facilities, such as level deck showers, lifts, and a door entry system. The one thing we do not provide is personal care. But if someone has had a care package at home, that will come into Abbeyfield with them. The next question I'm usually asked is, and what does all this cost? Abbeyfield and Wesley is a charity, and our charges are calculated to be affordable to all. The weekly charge of £389.20 covers rent, light, heat, food, laundry, cleaning, staff support, and maintenance. In fact, all costs are covered, with the exception of a personal phone, clothes, toiletries, and other personal items. As a general rule, dependent on personal pensions, if a resident has less than 16,000 in savings, they will be entitled to housing benefit of £127.89 per week and supporting people of £71.25 per week. So this will reduce the amount they have to pay to £190. And they may also be entitled to attendance allowance, which is currently £60, and pension credits up to £177.10. In a recent survey we carried out with residents, one gentleman who explained the difference moving into Abbeyfield had made to his life ended by saying, "For anyone thinking of whether to spend their older years in a house or flat on their own or move into an Abbeyfield house, just do it. You won't regret it."
Absolutely lovely, Helen. Thank you so much. So you heard there, just do it. You won't regret it. And I could almost smell that home cooking that you were talking about, Helen. Thank you. Very informative. And I'm sure that it will have perhaps prompted questions from our guests here today. So if anyone does have a question, we'll take those at the end of the session. But now we're going to hear a little more. We're going to see firsthand what residents think of Abbeyfield and Wesley. So the first video that you're going to see now is of Mavis, a resident in one of Abbeyfield's Bangor houses, with her daughter-in-law.
Well, I'm very happy here. I was made very, very welcome by everyone. They've all been so kind, and I'm really happy here and enjoying it. Lovely food, and all the staff are kind to me, you know. So I've made a really good move, and I'm sure this is the best place for me to be now at the moment.
Well, prior to that, Mavis was living on her own in Manchester. Unfortunately, we weren't able to see her sort of like in the last couple of years that much. And I think just being in Abbeyfields has completely changed Mavis's outlook. She's gone from feeling a bit sad, lonely.
Yeah.
She's getting great meals. She's like a different person.
The company.
The company. She's just honestly like a different person. It's like it's given her life back. And she's got things to look forward to now.
Yes.
And I just think it's made a whole difference. Not just her, but us as well.
A really good place to come. You couldn't do better. It's in a nice area, nice residential area, and also everyone in here is all so nice and kind and welcoming. Whatever you want and whatever you need, they'll do it for you, you know. And I'm ever so comfortable. I've got a really nice room and very pleasant and very quiet. So I think that anyone coming here would be a good place to come, to move to, yes.
I think as well, it's you're allowed to bring your own belongings. That's quite nice because you've got your own personal bits and pieces in your room. You've still got your independence. You can do as much or as little as you want to do and that you feel that you can do. And it's just the reassurance of having people around you. It's, that's good.
Really, I was really lonely, yeah. And the neighbours were very kind, but most of them were elderly, and they kept themselves to themselves, and you didn't see them unless it was really good weather, and you saw them in the garden. And I didn't go out a lot in the garden, really. I couldn't do it. I had a gardener, so I was more or less in the house all the time, killing time, sort of, waiting from one meal to the next. The company's been the main thing, having someone to talk to and chat with, and it's been marvellous, really. I can look forward to things, Now before just sat there and there was nothing really to look forward to, only the family's telephoning me and that kind of thing, But they've been so nice here, and anything you wanted or any problems and that, Tommy's been ever so nice, yes.
So some very happy, engaged residents there, which is so lovely to see. And Abbeyfield and Wesley's Community Engagement Manager, Sally Campton, will now bring us up to speed on the types of activities and networks that are in place, which help to make Abbeyfield and Wesley supported living the happy place that it is. Sally.
Sarah, thanks so much. And wasn't it just lovely to hear Mavis describe how much more she's enjoying life again, having made her home in Abbeyfield. And Richard Cargom, who started the whole Abbeyfield movement, described an Abbeyfield house as an ordinary house in an ordinary street, which he said can more easily become a part of the life of the neighbours. And so from the very beginning of Abbeyfield, there's been an emphasis on keeping things local, relatable, and on a very human scale. His idea of providing homes for residents to make friends, eat together, take part in activities, and to continue feeling part of a community are still those same ideals that you'll find in our Abbeyfield houses today. Our houses are typically converted or purpose-built homes in central residential areas, close to local amenities and to transport links, so residents can stay well connected to the wider community. Now, Helen's already touched on a few of the reasons why someone might choose to make their home in an Abbeyfield house. We're unashamed in our focus about the provision of tasty home-cooked food because we know the importance of sharing meals, both from our own years of experience and indeed from research that's been done on the subject. Because we recognise that changes can and do happen in later life. And Abbeyfield are here to support residents as they adapt to those changes. The core of what we do is to make sure that nobody in later life is alone if they choose not to be. And in this last year, we are all only too aware of how hard the enforced social distancing measures have hit people and what that impact has been, particularly in people living on their own, including older people. But interestingly, our most recent resident survey, completed just last month, showed that impact was greatly mitigated for those living in our supported sheltered houses. Residents still continued to eat together, share companionship, and have the support of our staff. And as well as shared meals, at Abbeyfield we share moments and we share experiences. There's a range of organised and informal activities, and residents can be involved as much or as little as they wish. It's their choice. And of course, residents are free to continue pursuing their own hobbies and interests. One of the most popular annual events in our Abbeyfield calendar is our Doorstep Challenge. It's like a best in bloom for our Abbeyfield houses. And every year, entries are more creative and more ingenious. This year, we have a recycling theme. And I can't wait to see how everyone rises to that particular challenge. We also have a great team of local volunteers who support life in Abbeyfield by helping with activities and events, or by helping to take care of our gardens. Others spend time on a one-to-one basis with residents, joining them on a walk, accompanying them to the shops, or simply having a chat together. And we have great connections with lots of local schools, colleges, churches, and other groups, which our residents enjoy. Like everyone, because of COVID, we've had to learn to pivot when it comes to those events and activities in this last year. But one silver lining has been that digital technology has helped us connect residents across our different Abbeyfield houses in shared communities of interest. So whether that's been enjoying live stream theatre performances, local history talks, Zoom bingo games, or just getting together for a cup of tea and a bit of crack, we've been learning new ways of keeping connected. And of course, we've also been able to support residents to keep in touch with family online. As well as that, we now have an Abbeyfield and Wesley YouTube channel, which we use to show things like live streamed armchair aerobics, run exclusively for us by a professional dancer. And one of our own staff is about to begin a series of craft sessions online for residents to try out. And as we ease out of lockdown, we're looking forward to seeing our volunteers in person, getting involved with activities again. So I hope that gives you just a wee flavour of the companionship and the community that Abbeyfield Life provides. But I'll leave the last word to one of our residents, who recently commented about living in Abbeyfield. You get a good laugh, good food, good chats, and good crack. Sarah, you can't say better than that.
You cannot, Sally. Thank you so much for that. It sounds like there's an awful lot of different things for residents to get involved in, which is great, as loneliness is one of the biggest issues for older people. So it's really important that residents come together and have meaningful social interactions. Great to hear about the fantastic work that you were doing over the past year to keep everybody connected as well. Indeed, in the next video, we'll be hearing more now about the social aspect of life in Abbeyfield and Wesley, which is one of the main benefits. So let's take a look now and hear from the amazing Aloma, who is 96 and lives in Abbeyfield's Downpatrick House.
The security is worth a tremendous amount, and I love just the overall atmosphere. It's friendly, and yet we can do our own things, you know, in our own rooms. It's just a lovely, lovely atmosphere. I cope pretty well on my own, but life was very different, and I had thought about Fold, and I'd seen one or two places around Newcastle, but I didn't think it achieved anything really for me. And I came over here with my daughter, and we looked at the room that I've got now, and I said, if I can have this room, that's it. It's been a big relief for her to have me close by, you know, and because I know she used to worry a bit about me being on my own and one thing and another. I just came here, there were a lot of visitors, you know, there was a knitting bee, and there was a man who used to play the accordion, and there was a little more outside activities brought into the home, which was very, very enjoyable. So we've missed that. But I think we've all got used to living in our own little environment now, yes. But they're very good. I really do enjoy my meals, but I don't like Irish stew, so I always have a different meal. But generally speaking, the food is very good, and I very rarely manage to eat a complete plate full. I haven't any complaints about food. This is wonderful. This is a wonderful spot, and it's also nice and clean and tasteful. It's really first class. I mean that sincerely. You know, I really couldn't fault it. So I'm looking forward to having a bit more freedom, and that perhaps we can meet in the sun parlour, you know, for a little chat. But taken all round, it's been a jolly good. Yes.
Thank you, Aloma, for telling us your experience. And it's always great when you can actually genuinely see that someone is very, very happy, even if they don't like Irish stew. I mean, come on. So hopefully, everyone, it was helpful for you to hear directly from the residents about their experience and what they see as the benefits of Abbeyfield and Wesley supported living. And yes, hopefully, as maybe restrictions ease more, they can do more fun things. We all feel that too. So I know there's been a lot of information shared today already, and it may have prompted questions. So if you do have a question and you want to ask it now, Helen or Sally will attempt to answer it. And I know I have a couple of questions that I would like to put to you. And I was wondering, can someone with dementia move into supported sheltered housing?
Yes, they can, and particularly in the early stages of dementia, where they probably just need reminded or prompted about meal times and where they are. It only becomes an issue later on if they start to wander. Because we do not operate a locked door system. So at that stage, they would need residential care.
Okay, thank you, Helen. And another question I have here, if someone has a small income, I know you've touched on the cost already, but they cannot afford the charge, but they own their own house, can they still get housing benefit?
Yes, if they meet the criteria of less than 16,000 in savings, they can apply for housing benefit, provided they are putting their house up for sale.
Okay, thank you very much, Helen. One for you, Sally. It's all well and good saying that everybody wants to be interactive and everybody wants to take part in all of these social activities, but you know, there are some people who don't. And if someone is a very private person, do they have to join in?
Sarah, absolutely not. We very much respect residents' wishes and their choices, and the activities and events that we organise and provide, and some of them in fact come from residents themselves, are there for people to join in if they choose to. We have some residents who are perfectly happy in their own company for most of the time. They enjoy the shared meal times and the conversation there, but they may just prefer their own company. They may actually have a social life of their own outside the front doors, and they're involved in local events and activities that are happening outside. So absolutely, there's no pressure on anybody to join in, but we absolutely welcome and encourage anybody who wishes to.
Well, that's really good to know. And I know that you probably have lots of questions now. So I'm going to take my leave very shortly and leave you in the capable hands of Helen or Sally, and they will attempt to answer any queries that you might have. So we are going to draw the, I suppose, educational and information part of the webinar to a close. Thank you to everyone for tuning in today to find out about Abbeyfield and Wesley Supported Living. I don't know about you, but I certainly found it very informative and I suppose presented perhaps a different view than maybe what I was expecting initially. Wonderful scenes there, really lovely pictures of very, very happy residents too. And in the coming days, as you reflect perhaps on what you've heard and seen, you may have further questions or you may want to speak to a member of the team directly. And if you're keen to find out more about Abbeyfield and Wesley, you can visit the website at www.abbeyfieldandwesley.org.uk. If you're a family member and you're on Facebook, you can check out Abbeyfield and Wesley's Facebook page at Abbeyfield Wesley. Or again, if you'd like to speak to a member of staff, they've got lots of time to speak to you and would love to take your call. Feel free to call on 028 9336 3558. So thank you very much to Sally and Helen and to you for joining us today.